Hello and welcome to Wingin It. So in this video we are going to take a look at some starting hands and a little bit of early game strategy to kind of work out what we might be doing in the first round. And joining me is Tay Ray from Tuck and Cash. So how are you doing, Tay?
I'm good. Hello. Happy to be here again.
Good stuff. Yeah, thank you for being here again on my channel. And yeah, so how this is going to work, we are going to go into a 1v1 game and we'll each have control of one of the players and we'll just kind of look at the starting hand, the end of round goals, the birds in the tray and all of that, and yeah, kind of think about how we're going to set it up and take through those first round actions. So yeah, without further ado, I think we can get stuck into the game. So
All right.
I'll be going first. I will have a look at my starting hand and tell you my thoughts, and then you can give me your thoughts and criticisms on that. So yeah, quite an interesting start and certainly an interesting tray. Kind of, I think the one thing maybe that stands out to me is kind of a lack of wetland option. You've got that common loon in the tray, but that is always a bit of a risky one early. Potentially helping out your opponent as well. But I think it can work, and certainly the first end of round, sets of eggs, you kind of need something in there if you're going to try and compete. But equally, the big bird in that tray is the house finch. So I am probably going to be grabbing that. I guess the only question is which of these lovely forest birds I'm going to be going for, because there's lots of good options. So I have not had a whole lot of experience playing with the great tit, but it certainly is one that appeals to me. Very easy to play. First turn with all that food, 3 different food and plenty of egg space as well. And just, food in the early game is so precious and so important to get hold of. So being able to get, an extra food after resetting the bird feeder, I think particularly sometimes the early game, the bird feeder can get stuck where you don't want any of that food. So that is very, very nice to have. So yeah, it's, I think probably I'd be looking at the great tit and obviously keep the food for that. First turn, I'm going to be grabbing that house finch. And one thing I like to do sometimes if I can't find a wetland bird is I'll just keep an extra bird. So for argument's sake, I'll keep the nuthatch and then I'll just cycle it through the house finch. I think certainly with this setup, the 6 egg spaces on the house finch, the 6 on the great tit, that's 6 turns you can lay eggs and cycle through a card. And maybe that first turn it is going to be to grab the loon if it is still there, or I think just keep cycling and try and find another wetland bird. So yeah, just quickly on the bonus cards, not great. Not got anything really, unless I was going to keep the Oriole. Nothing that really meets either of these, but yeah, it's a toss up. I'd probably go photographer and leave that and just see if I can find, and if I miss it, it's not the end of the world. So yeah, I think that's how I'd be playing that out.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a pretty solid start. Not gonna lie, when I first see this starting hand, I am slightly overwhelmed. You have a lot of great forests, where you have the great tit, the chickadee can be kind of nice, and then obviously the Oriole has a really strong ping power as well. I like your plan. I think grabbing the house finch is no brainer, and then because the great tit allows you to gain 2 food at a time. So once you have the great tit down, like playing the house finch is not a problem. I think the common loon is quite appealing as well.
Yeah.
So I think that was good. That was a good start and good strategy.
Yeah, and just kind of looking at the tray as well. There is in the bird feeder there is a cherry at least. So hopefully you could you maybe take the cherry and then hope for a seed on the reroll and get that house finch down quickly. So yeah, I think that's basically set. So I will lock those choices in, and we can take a look at the second player. And this is your chance to go through how you would play this one out.
Let's see. Oh, look at this. Let's have a base game starting hand analysis here.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, this is still quite interesting, but not really, because I just saw that we have the black bit and the bond swap. I think this is definitely screaming a full tuck situation here, because there's no forest bird, and let's look at the bonus card. What do we have? Oh,
Ooh.
Boologist and Citizen Scientist. Oh, this is gonna be a tough one.
That's a tricky one, yeah.
Yeah, but if we go back to the bird, I think it's pretty obvious that we have to go with the full tuck here because there's just no obvious forest. At least if you set up the full tuck, you can kind of consistently run a 3-point engine in the early game while you dig and hope to find that, things to pivot to or continue to build up your wetland. That certainly is a strong strategy. Can we look at the bird feeder? We do need a grub, and there is a grub, so that's good news.
Yeah,
and then I think the next thing to think about is the bonus card. So we have the Oologist and the Citizen Scientist. Typically, Oologist should be pretty easy to score, but if you're running a wetland engine, it can be tricky. On the other hand, Citizen Scientist, you at least have 2 birds already, so okay, before we decide on the bonus card, another thing I also noticed is that all of the 4 end of round goal is eggs related. That's really the worst set of end of round goal you can have for full tug. So I think ideally in this game, ideally if everything go well, you want to run a full tug at the beginning, but then maybe if there's a chance to pivot it to the grassland so that you can score for the rest of the end of round goals. So in that case, I'm kind of leaning towards Oologist for the bonus card. But what do you think about the bonus card?
Yeah, it is a difficult one. Citizen Scientist is just such a bad bonus card. Really difficult to even meet that lower threshold. So I think you're right. I think this is the kind of setup where early game, you go for these 2 tucking birds, you get those down in the wetlands and just dig, and you're looking at 3 cards a turn, you're scoring 3 points. Eventually you are going to obviously fill up on the blackbird, but I think you can expect by then that you'll find something for the forest or the grasslands, or even something to add into the wetlands to maybe make this into a higher point scoring engine. So I think there is a lot of flexibility, and like you say, it's very easy to pivot away from this if you do find those kind of birds that you might look to build up something in the grasslands with.
All right. I'm gonna lock myself in too. So say like grub seed and a rodent just for good luck.
Well, I was gonna ask if maybe that red-shouldered hawk in the tray is kind of maybe if you need something for the forest, but I think like you say, it's for good luck, and you've got a few turns to kind of try and dig a little bit and see what you find, and maybe on that last turn, if you don't find something, then you can go for the hawk. So cool. All right, we'll lock those choices in, and we'll get this game started. So like I said, I think my kind of first turn pretty straightforward. I'm going to be grabbing that house finch, and we'll see what comes up. Common moorhen, probably not something you're interested in.
Not what I need. No. I think in this case I'll pick the grub just in case you play like a like a flicker or something.
Okay, so you want this grub?
Yeah,
good choice. And it's probably for you, it's going to be fairly straightforward until you start digging through the deck and maybe picking up some new birds that you might have to make decisions on. But get the great tit down. No surprises there, I think.
Yeah, and here is where there's also 2 school of thoughts here. Like, do you play the swallow first, or do you play the yellow-headed blackbird? I like to play the yellow-headed blackbird first, so that in all game that's the ideal sequence you want. You want the tuck and draw to activate first before you activate tuck and lay, and I think it's worth it to do it. So I'm gonna play the blackbird.
All right. Yeah, I know this is a topic that we've debated at length before. So there's pros and cons to both sides, I think. But I certainly can't argue with playing the blackbird first. There, it makes sense. So. Yeah, I'll obviously go for this cherry here, and then I'm praying on this reroll, and there we go. We get the seed, so I'm happy.
There you go.
That.
Yeah. All right. So here's also another thing. Basically I draw blind here. So I'll draw blind.
Okay.
All right, Sandpiper and tuck it.
You're happy to tuck that. And then yeah, that's good. That gives you the eggs, so you can get that barn swallow down next turn pretty straightforwardly, I think. And yeah, house finch, no real surprises there.
All right, barn swallow down.
Good stuff. And yeah, that's basically you set up for this first round at least, and time to dig and see what you can find. I think so. Yeah, I think for me, I see that set up in the wetlands, and now that common loon becomes a lot more appealing for me. So
yeah,
I think I will. I will be tucking the nuthatch and grabbing that loon, and again, I can go for food and maybe hope that I can get something. A nice fish on the reroll.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I must point out though, like if you go back to your board, basically you do have a 3 points grassland engine here.
Yep.
And the greatest thing is that you have combined with between two birds like 12 egg spots.
That's the strength,
so
really.
You can run the house finch for quite a while if you really want to dig.
Yep.
So
yeah. I think for me that kind of the only thing that would force me into getting a wetland bird down early is this end of round. So in this case, I've got 3 turns left. If I get lucky on the reroll, I can hopefully get this loon down and then lay eggs and win the end of round. So that's an extra 4 points, which I think is always nice early in the game.
Yeah, and like you say, you're also very competitive for the rest of the end of round goals. So even though like I have almost a pretty good full tuck start, but it's pretty equal between this two board, I would say.
Absolutely.
All right, let's dig a little bit and see what we
start
got.
Digging. So 2 from the top.
Yep, 2 from the top. All right, nothing.
Ooh.
Oh, look at that. That is what you want.
That is
when
what
you run
want.
Yeah. Yep. So we're gonna tuck the gangster. And
that's a dream.
Happily tuck that. Yeah,
that's a dream scenario. Draw the Benelli's Eagle and 2 really bad cards that you'd never even consider playing. So
right.
All right, moment of truth. Can I get lucky on the reroll?
Yeah, you really need that fish.
Hey!
Oh, there you go.
That's what we want to see.
Yeah,
so that
things
works out
going pretty well. All right, let's draw again and see what we can dig. Ooh. Oh, look at that.
Well, there you go.
That's what we're talking about.
That's what you're looking for. All right.
Yep. Blackbird gone. That's also gone. Gonna tuck that.
And yeah, there's even a worm in the feeder, so that's working out very nicely for you as well.
Yeah. I mean that basically with that goal, you have to commit to the wetland now.
I think you do, yeah.
Yeah. So pick up that worm.
Go for the worm. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, and it's going to help clear out some of that space on the blackbird before that becomes a problem as well. So that's really nice for you. So I think for me, just lay eggs here. Obviously, I will sadly miss out on the tuck on the house finch, but I think that's worthwhile to win that end of round goal and get the extra 4 points.
Yep, and I get the goal down.
Get the goal down. And there you go. Very nice full tuck setup. I am very jealous.
That certainly looks great. And also early Bonelli's Eagle, just like you're guaranteed like
Eagle. Exactly.
Yeah. Early start there.
Absolutely. So there you go. That was the first round, and I guess it's worth trying to think about who is in the stronger position here. We look at the points. You're on 14 points at the moment. How many am I going to be on? Probably about the same, maybe a few more because of that end of round goal. I think you have got the better engine, obviously, at the moment. Just the card cycle, the swallow and the blackbird are going to score so many points. That gull is going to come in handy for getting you some food. And like you say, that eagle is a guaranteed 11 points later in the game. It's just a matter of when you're going to get to play that. So I mean, I think if I'm in this position and I have this setup and I was offered if I could trade to this setup, I would take it. I would take it every day. So
I mean, it's hard to say. From my perspective, it's like, first of all, I think with this setup, Ulo just is kind of a gone case. Like it's gonna be hard to score for that.
Right.
I think for your setup, for your board, I think the thing is like the House Finch already a pretty good starting engine there. You just need another maybe like a tug and draw. Then
Yeah.
you have a 5-point engine, which is very competitive to my wetland engine. Like
Yeah.
my wetland, I'm another thing about the wetland engine that I have on this board is like I'm gonna be so short of cards. I only gain 1 cards, and then I need cards to tuck under Bonelli's Eagles. So yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think, for this setup here, it's all about what you can find that's going to add to the House Finch. So I think this Loon is a really good pickup. That's if I'm discarding an egg, I can get 3 cards here, and then start cycling through that with the House Finch. And yeah, I mean, really, it's going to be a race to see who can find that next tucking bird, because I think whoever gets it and can get that down and add that to their engine, that's just going to be so strong.
Right, and and I think we mentioned this. Like, you're also gonna gain the lead from end of round goals, by a lot too. So that kind of cancels out the Bonelli's Eagle.
Yeah,
kinda.
yeah, it does certainly feel like rounds 2 and 3. Those are probably in the bag for me. And I mean, obviously, round 4's a long way off, but you'd think that by then, I'm going to find some platform nests and obviously have a nice setup in the grasslands that's going to let me lay lots of eggs on those.
So I'll say pretty equal match.
Yeah. Well, that was certainly an interesting early game scenario. 2 boards that have got in 2 very different directions, but certainly 2 very strong setups early in the game. So if you let us know in the comments what you would potentially have done with these setups and which of these you think are stronger. Are you more of a full tuck fan, or are you going to kind of look more to this traditional grasslands engine as the strong one? I'm interested to hear your thoughts. But as always, thank you very much for joining me, Tere. Hopefully you enjoyed going through that with me.
Yeah, that was very fun.
Absolutely. All right, thank you everyone for watching, and do stay tuned, stick around, and head over to Tere's channel as well, which is Tuck and Cash, to see more Wingspan gameplay and strategy content.